Hi, I'm Krista Bailey. I'm the Assistant Director at the Center for a Sustainable Future. Work next to Mike. My office is right next door to his. And he asked me to talk a little bit about the local food scene, because it's something that has been a big part of my life since moving to South Bend back in 2006. Yes. And moving here from Elkhart, where I had been involved for a number of years with community gardening efforts there, and was part of a community garden out at the Elkhart Airport. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's very cool. But I moved to South Bend, and I thought, well, I have this little yard, and I have a little bit of space to grow stuff, but I really, need a community garden to connect with people in this area that I've never lived in before. But also, there must be some community space for growing. How fun is that? So I started asking around, hey, where's the community gardens? And people gave me these blank looks back because they had never heard of a community garden and weren't aware of any in the area. But I kept asking because I knew there had to be somebody that knew maybe where one was hiding or had an interest in starting one. So eventually I got to a group of 5 to 10 people that said, yeah, that's a really cool idea and we really need to have that. And I said, well, maybe we should sit down and figure out how to do this. So we did. So it was the spring of 2007, sat down with several groups of people over the course of a few months, and we decided, yes, we need to have community gardens in this area. We need more food more readily available to more people, and people should have the opportunity to interact with the natural environment and produce food. And so we started strategizing about, where we should start one first. There's so many options, and who's got a yard or open space or whatever. And so we tried to figure out, where to get going with one. Well, that first summer that I was here in 2007, since I didn't have a lot of garden space, but wanted to do some gardening, I joined a community-supported agriculture farm in Niles, Michigan, up on Bertrand Road. It's called Bertrand Farm, and it's a working CSA. So you put in 3 hours a week, and you get a share of the harvest from that day that you're there working. So you might just be growing, I think I grew the corn one year, and I grew the beans another year, but you get a share of everything that comes in. And that was great, but it was a half-hour drive there and a half-hour drive home to get this fresh, local food. So I got to talking with some folks out there one day. We were helping in the greens area, and how nice it would be to have more local food. And one of the people said, well, I know a space that's in our neighborhood, someone that I've been carpooling with actually, and she said it's right behind the Potawatomi conservatories. There's this open space that looks like it could hold a garden. It's kind of fenced in. Maybe we can use that. So we put together a proposal with the help of someone from the Parks Department who oversees special projects, and one of the volunteers at the conservatory, who was all excited about the idea. So we took it to the Parks Board and said, hey, we'd love to have a community garden back in this space. And they loved the idea. They thought it was fabulous. They didn't see any harm with it. And so we prepared to break ground in the spring of 2008. Early that spring, I was at an event actually here on campus, and I met a woman named Sarah Stewart. And she said, I have some land downtown, and it's kind of in this area where there's a lot of hungry and homeless people, and I think it'd be really cool if I could put a garden in there, and we could have a garden growing and people could pick the food and have food to eat. And I was like, well, that's great. That sounds cool. You should do that. She's like, you think so? I don't know if that would work. I'm like, who cares? Put in a garden. Someone will enjoy the food even if it's only you. Okay, great. So that idea it took off like crazy. So while we were starting this garden, modeled very similarly to the Bertrand Farm model behind the conservatories, and sharing part of our harvest every week because there was a lot of food, Sarah was starting this initiative that is now known as the Unity Gardens, that is developed to give people the resources they need to start these gardens that bring diverse people together and share the harvest in a variety of ways, whether the garden is wide open like that first one Sarah started, or if it's in a more structured model like the one at the conservatory where the harvest is shared every time it's harvested, which is on a pretty regular basis. So back in 2008, she started that garden. I had started one, and I had been talking to folks at Holy Trinity Church on the west side of town, and so they started a little bitty garden that year, starting small, which has grown much bigger since then. But so those 3 gardens were up and running in 2008. This year there have been 57 gardens growing all over town, largely due to the energy and the spearheaded effort of Sarah, and getting out and telling the story and encouraging people to grow food. So that's been a really exciting development in the local food scene. So you should look at theunitygardens.org, find out what gardens are near you, possibly go to the fundraising event this Thursday. It's called the Taste of Unity. You can taste seasonal food prepared by top area chefs. There's a silent auction. It should be a really fun event. But there's also tons of opportunities to volunteer at Unity Gardens and get involved. And in fact, one of those 57 Unity Gardens is on our campus. It's over at Campus Housing. So if you walk over the bridge, go over the river, and turn left, you'll see the raised beds there along the campus apartments. And it's a Unity Garden. It's open for you to harvest from and help in. So keep an eye out for opportunities to do that, or drop by and pull a carrot for a snack sometime if you're over that way. Another local food scene item, I guess, to make you aware of is something that actually started around my dining room table. We'd had our regularly invited our neighbors over just to hang out, play card games, have a drink, have some snacks, whatever. Their kids are my kids' age, and so we would sit and talk about a lot of times food and nutrition and health and where to get the best whatever, and realize that we were doing a lot of driving between us, to go here to get the milk and there to get the eggs and there to get the fresh meat and here to get the produce, and we were all over the region trying to connect with local farmers and to find that fresh, local, organic food from people we could trust. And it just seemed crazy. We thought, well, there's got to be a way we can pull all this food into one spot and we can just go there and get it from these people that we know and trust. So we developed this idea of starting a food cooperative, that we could all buy into this concept together. So we emailed some of our friends and people that we knew that were interested in this kind of thing. And we put a little thing in the paper, like one of those little 2-inch blurbs, come find out about starting a food co-op. And just to see what would happen. Well, over 100 people came out for that first event, and they didn't want to just hear about how are you guys going to start this. They wanted to help. They wanted to get involved. They got the whole idea of a cooperative, being member owned and operated, jumped in, signed up for committees, and then people actually came to the committee meetings, and here we are. So that was in the fall of 2008, and the co-op is now looking at opening a storefront that'll be open every day in downtown South Bend. Currently, it's designed as a model where it's sort of an online farmers market, so you can go online, and in fact, there's a little app for it, and you can look online at the different foods that are available and read about the farmers and what they've got, and order from someone that you can find out about and know how they raise the food. And then when you go to pick up the food you ordered over the weekend on Wednesday nights, you're picking it up right from the farmer, and they can tell you, how to cook it, what they like about it, what's coming up next, all kinds of things, and have these great community connections with growers in the area. So this was really hitting this big win for us from our table conversations about wanting to enjoy the process of getting our food and not wearing ourselves out, right? And developing this community of people who have these interests, and really connecting us to our natural environment in a whole new way, because the farmers often there's farm tours every year, so you can go out and actually see the farms where your food is from, which is super cool and really fun. So it's given us the opportunity to get some of those questions answered, right, that we've been struggling with, about knowing how fresh it was, how clean it was, how it was grown, if it's processed at all, what goes into that, who processes the meat, who makes the bread, what's in it, all those fun questions, right? and really relocalizing our local food dollars and investing right in our community, which was, important to us and apparently to many others. There's now about 350 member owners who've actually invested money to be a member of the co-op, and many others that are investing time and effort to keep this going. So that's really exciting. So watch for that. It should be opening at 123 Hill Street over in the East Bank area of downtown. Or you can go online and shop on the app. With the app, it's really fun. But the other, I guess, local food scene thing I want to talk about, since you probably have driven by or hopefully stopped at the farmer's market that's just up the road from us, it's like a mile from here. It's huge, it's open year-round, is the fact that, we have this great farmer's market here on the east side of downtown, and there's the co-op that you can go online, you can order, and you can find out all this, uber geeky information about your food. But the west side of town was kind of being left out of this mix. And about the time that the co-op was first getting started, I was talking with a group of folks from across town, downtown, east side, west side, north side, south side. And he said, we keep talking about how it'd be nice to have a farmer's market on the west side, because there are a bunch of food deserts where people can't get any fresh food. It's just convenience store and fast food nearby. It's hard for them to get to the farmer's market. It's kind of a pain of a drive, and if you have a car. We really need to get some fresh food in there. So we started what's called the Urban Garden Market, which is on the west side of town. Work to get the regulations and the paperwork in order, find local producers to sell there, and set up a few tables and tents. And it's still running. So 2009, I guess, was we piloted it for a month in 2008, and it worked pretty well. So 2009, we did a full season. But it was really volunteer run. It was like us doing the promotions and setting it up and breaking it down and taking in the money and figuring out how to run it. We weren't directly benefiting from it. It's just something we really all enjoyed to do, either because it brought economic development opportunities to the west side, or it brought fresh food, or it brought a market, or it was a social thing. We all kind of had our own angle on why we wanted this to exist there. But after a few years, we're like, this is a lot. And trying to get the farmers more involved. And so they obviously could tell that, we were patching this together. And this year, the Urban Garden Market was actually run by the farmers. They said, this is something that we love, it's an experience we enjoy, and we want to keep it going. So that's been a huge success in my book, is that my involvement this summer has been so minimal, but the market's still up and running to provide more local food in the area. So quite a bit going on in just in South Bend. There's much more in Michiana that we could talk about, but I think I'm running out of time. Anyway, that's kind of the short version of the local food scene from my perspective and my involvement. It's actually all these activities and were integral part of my master's thesis here that I completed here at IUSB. In looking at these kind of activist models, as well as the data and the theory behind local food movements and developing a more sustainable urban food system. So if you're interested, you want to find out about any of these or get involved or just want to chat about food, my office is right next to Mike's. You can drop in anytime. And enjoy the rest of your Sustainable Table discussion today, and hopefully I'll get to meet you all soon.